What are your problems? I have many, but my two biggest problems right now are the army of mosquitoes in my house and office, then the heat in Abuja. I haven't slept well in over a week because of these mosquitoes. It seems they are mutating like COVID because insecticides don't phase them. Just last night, this particular mosquito was bent on biting my kids, and I was up most of the night trying to kill it. But just when I think I've cornered its death, it just magically disappears. The high point of the night was when this mosquito just flew straight towards my eyes, then did a double somersault, and believe it or not, I felt it winked at me and then disappeared again. That's when I started crying. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall be corrupt by flatteries, but the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits. Daniel's prophecy was fulfilled in part by the Maccabees, who were a small band of devoted God followers who attacked and defeated the forces of Antiochus Epiphanes over and over again. Antiochus was a God-hater who desecrated the holy temple of God. He even went so far as to sacrifice a pig to Zeus on the altar in the temple. The Maccabees took action, leading to many victories, and their exploits became legendary. We live in dangerous and interesting times that try the fate of the believer. It appears that problems have also mutated in their approach. In the past, one problem will finish before the next one rears its head. But now, multiple problems come at you at the same time. You can imagine the mosquitoes, the heat, and the air conditioner that now decide to be a saboteur, all attacking me at the same time. I almost forgot to mention the generator that's packed up from overheating. This is the reality of most people, multi-faceted problems. The woman who had only one son had been praying for a second child for the last 12 years. Then her only son dies in an accident. You finally got married at the age of 42, then he leaves you 6 months later because you have breast cancer. The Schengen visa you sold your car to prepare for has expired because COVID didn't allow you travel. Your business was destroyed by hoodlums during the NSAS protest, and yet the bank is still demanding you service the loan. Both parents died a week apart from each other from COVID. For some, it's a combination of spousal abuse, perennial struggle with rent and school fees, dead-end job, stagnation, confusion, hurt, betrayal, infidelity, sickness, or even hunger. We are all grappling with multiple problems and many are snapping. Suicide and mental illnesses are on the rise. Some are tempted to ask if God is sleeping or no longer cares. You have done all you have been taught to do. You have prayed how they told you to pray. You have participated in every fast the church has called and even joined other churches in their fast. You have attended every church program and you are the diligent church worker who always shows up on time. You are sure you heard God clearly when He said today is the day that you enter your rest, but you still labor in sorrow. Where is God? When will He show up, you ask? The scripture, but the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits, talks about 3 things. The foundation is knowing God. The second is being strong, and the third is doing exploits. There's a major difference between knowing about God and knowing God. Knowing about God is observatory or hearsay knowledge, while knowing God is experiential knowledge. Observatory or hearsay knowledge is what you hear your pastor, priest, or people say about God. It's also what you read about God. Experiential knowledge is the intimate relationship you have with Him, and more often than not, it comes from knowing about Him. The good news for some is that you know Him. It is the starting point, and it means you have a fighting chance. For those who just know about Him, you need to have an intimate relationship with Him. This relationship is what gives you the insurance, assurance, boldness, and strength to do exploits. Let me use this analogy to break down the scripture further. You are a race car driver. The Ferrari engine of your car determines the extent of what that car will do. Your knowledge of the car and how it performs determines if you will crash the car or if you will win the race. The believer is the race car driver. The Ferrari engine is like the power and might of our God. What you do with the power and grace that God has made abound towards you depends on how well you know God. Some will have that car and will trek because they don't know how to drive. Some will think of how they can carry the car on their head. Some will drive the car slowly because they are not quite used to the car. But there are others who will be strong, hold that steering wheel with confidence, press down that pedal all the way and do exploits on that racetrack. It is never about God. It is always about you. When you know who your God is, you will sleep like a baby despite the mosquitoes buzzing around. My kids didn't even know I was doing exploits with mosquitoes at night. They know that daddy has their back, so they have no thoughts or worries. What is your problem? Not only does God do exploits for you that you don't even know about, but the engine you have on your inside can win any race. Start learning how to use that engine today. You might be a bit slow at first. You might have 1 or 2 crashes initially, just like the problems you have right now. But be assured that when you master your relationship with God, you will win this race of life. God bless you all.